Sensitivity and experiences from showers of divine grace.
Sensitivity and experiences. On inquiring about the condition after meditation, people often say they do not experience anything. Now, the first thing in this regard is that not experiencing some time and even not having any experience at all also remains an experience after all. If I assert that this state of having no experience is supreme condition of spirituality, people shall certainly demand an explanation, provided that they be really deserving candidates in the sphere of this discipline. We may take a concrete example. You come out of your home and a thorn pricks your foot, or suppose an accident occurs in which you suffer serious injury. In that situation, you will have much to tell about your experience. So there will be lots of experience worth narration, even during extraction of the thorn or healing of the injury. But after extraction of the thorn and healing of the injury, you will only say that now you experience just nothing. On persistent inquiry, you will say at the most that there remains no trouble now. This will also be possible. Yeah, next page. For you to say only in case the remembrance of the earlier condition of trouble may still remain. So can somebody continue? I think I am having consistent background because there are too many people here.
Okay, fine. Yeah, we'll continue.
Yeah, thanks.
This example refers to physical bodily trouble and relief comfort. But human existence extends who knows how far beyond the body, namely in fine and finer forms. In comparison to the state of relief comfort, experience is more acute and manifest during the state of trouble as compared to relief comfort. And experience worth narration is there also during release from trouble. But the experience which is born out of release from relief comfort continually grows on crossing the limits of narration. Clarification of this point has started just here. In so far as the word relief comfort is used to indicate release from trouble. But when we need to speak of release, liberation from relief, comfort, we have to use again the same word, relief, comfort, only. This means that relief arising out of release, that is liberation, and trouble, calamity, also happens to be some sort of trouble, calamity only. Release from which also creates a finer or subtler type of relief, comfort, and this chain process continues on and on, for which we have to speak of relief, release from relief, and then release from that also, etc. When stepping beyond physical bodily trouble and relief, comfort of heart, mind, and soul, etc., there is bound to be difficulty in experiencing and narrating the experience. Anyone wants to add? Question?
Here he is talking about multiple layers of relief from relief, and the challenge to put that into words.
Yes.
Yeah, I feel the same dilemma actually, in like diary writing or thinking about the experiences,
Yeah.
but never thought it of this way. Like when that final relief from like when that the last statement, when that is also gone, I think that is what we are all after.
Yeah, that is true. So this is where, right, means the physical experience, we can say, right, I'm having a pain here and now the pain is gone, or how acute the pain is. But when, and the, as you said, the diary writing trouble, dilemma and difficulty in the expressing is something we all are experiencing. Is the trouble of heart, mind, and soul, and the relief that we get in the heart, mind, and soul at different stages is difficult to describe. So even right now, right, if we uh, close our eyes and look at the heart, right, there is a certain experience that will be there, but it is very difficult to put it in words. And similarly, when we are there are some difficult situations where we are in. We feel certain disturbance in heart, and then once that is gone, obviously there will be a relief from that. But is that something that we recognize, and then is that something we can describe it, narrate it in our diary? And the same way, if I look at mind, right? What I find is mind has this habit of continuously thinking, and we are changing that habit of mind to be at one place in the meditation, in the form of divine light in the heart. But the trouble of the mind, where our wrong thinking is there, or the wrong habits of the mind, which keeps us disturbed, uh, just to even realize that and to narrate that, and then to when we come out of that, to be able to acknowledge that is not easy. When you're looking more as a neutral person, as your thought patterns and the type of thoughts that you are having, then it becomes somewhat uh, easy, or to be, at least we can recognize the trouble. But for that, we have to detach us from ourselves. And then we'll be able to recognize the thought patterns which are keeping us unnecessarily occupied or disturbed. That is how I understand this.
I think it also, I mean, connects to the point for the command number 7,
Yeah.
right? So how much we are able to really accept these, I mean, whatever, be pleasure or pain, and then how much we are surrendering everything to him.
Mm-hmm.
And then that makes it easier, to have those, the moisture of that water in that channel. So when you don't have that moisture, I think you don't even remember those things so much.
Good, you brought that up, because Commandment 7, he clearly explains, right? When we think ourselves as the doer, right, we form the book, and how that just that thought keeps on expanding and covers the whole space inside us. And then we feel that heaviness till we go through the book.
Yeah.
So the experience has been narrated very well in that commentary of the 7 commandment, and that has really helped me in terms of certain situations where I have really experienced that after that situation was over, I could feel that lightness. And then when I related with the commandment, I could see that how much heavy I was feeling. before that situation. So, and the changing of the state of mind was, yeah, accepting that thing as coming from the master. So that was,
in corporate presentations, when you start with a 30,000 feet view or 40,000 feet view. So you keep increasing the altitude, and then I think these things that doesn't look so significant.
yeah.
Right.
So this was actually the corporate situation only when, because of the organizational change, this was, I think, about 10, 12 years back, the things were taken away from me. And then my role was reduced, and I was like, why me, and all that. And then there was a lot of disturbance. But the moment I took that as accepting that as a situation and coming from the master, the state of mind changed. Okay, so shall we go ahead?
Yeah, Bhaiya.
If we pay attention to further account narration concerning experience of the pain of thorn prick, there are many categories, states, wherein pain is not experienced from thorn prick, or there remains no possibility of telling anything about it. Thorns prick the feet of many animals other than man, but in certain cases there is no experience of that at all, and in some other cases there is no experience of the experience. Similar happens to be the cases of the newly born human child. On growing up also, the particular part of body can be got anesthetized by using some drug or otherwise in the case of a grown-up human being as well. And experience and narration of pain gets blocked also in the event of vivisection or non-functioning of the relevant part of brain. Thus, many illustrations of this sort are there, lying below the level of normal human experience. I think this is straightforward. Go ahead. Then there are other examples which may be spoken of as states of higher category. Love or attachment of heart, whether mundane or divine, in proportion to its intensity, reduces the experience, sensitivity, and expression of physical penury. And still beyond and above a certain limit, attachment of heart and mind obstructs the most profound physical experience altogether. An anecdote about a prominent scientist is well known, that he was so absorbed in his work that his dog ate his lunch, and when in the evening his servant on inquiry told him that he had eaten his lunch and empty plates were taken away for washing by the servant, he, the scientist, was satisfied just that in a state of self-oblivion, he had forgotten having eaten his lunch. Whether somebody treats it as a state of high level or a low level, this story is certainly true at the level of human experience. What is the meaning of penury? Physical penury?
I'm not sure, but I guess must be some.
Penury is poverty, lack of money. Penury is lack of money, lack of basically poverty, poor.
Okay, but it says physical penury.
I mean, lack of resources, basically.
Okay. Okay, so let's go ahead. So then you can form an estimate of that superb spiritual state whereas there remains no experience of its remembrance. And possibly, even you may have experienced it yourself sometime. And in order to remember it as a high level experience, you may have made a note of it or else felt worried. Considering this state of self forgetfulness as a harmful disease of heart and mind. In fact, people assess good, bad, right, wrong, generally on the basis of personal benefit or loss. It may be asked as to what constitutes the standard of personal benefits finally, after all. A hungry person considers food as personal benefit, but the scientist forgets his hunger in his fondness for his work. It may be remarked here that intellectual benefit has precedence over physical benefit. There is yet another anecdote about this very scientist that his dog upturned the lamp on his table and the labor of his 20 years of life got reduced to ashes in no time. It is stated that the scientist just patted the dog and said only, "You do not know what great harm you have dealt to me." It is also stated that Lord Christ, in this very strain, prayed for his killers. O God, pardon them, for they do not know what great sin they have committed. Here, even intellectual and emotional benefit also weighed lighter as compared to spiritual benefit. We can proceed on and on like this to realize that on emergence of higher form of experience, the experience of lower category loses its weight value, and one who lacks acquaintance with higher and finer form of experience has only to say that he had no experience. Any questions? Anything you want to add? So one way to look at it as contemplating is talking about the physical and then talking about the intellectual and mental. So can think of it also in terms of the koshas, Annamaya kosha, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanmaya, Anandmaya. And the experiences will be in these different koshas and the relief and the pain that gets in each of them. We'll go ahead. The last point in this context is that there is a whole world of difference between the condition of having no experience at the initial and the topmost stages of our way of puja, worship, or spiritual practice. Initially, the egoism identified, harmonized with physical, that is bodily, and materialistic desire stands incapable of recognizing experiences of superior most stage, and the speed of self-forgetting on stepping forward on higher stages starts obliterating the possibility of the value, importance, and admissibility of the experience of sensitivity to pain and comfort, happiness or otherwise, of the lower and cruder existence. In the superiormost state of perfect balance, whereas our narration and comprehension having become suspended, there does not happen plenty of experience, so much so that no desire for anything in exchange for it remains. However, experience and its description become meaningless here. The state has been fixed under the term indescribable, anirvachaniya. In the Upanishads, expressed by Lord Buddha through silence, and Sufism and Kabir have felt contented to speak of as it is just what it is. The simplicity, naturalness of our way of training and practice has by itself become a veil due to which higher stages of spiritual progress, that is refinement, have suffered loss of appreciation. People in the initial stage of having nothing to go around speaking in denigrating terms about high spiritual stages, as if considering themselves established out in the highest state of nothingness. In short, just say every honest, genuine practicant is bound to comprehend and experience spiritual advancement in the right way. In the beginning, mostly there may be emphasis on the importance of physical and material experience. However, comprehension concerning health and peace of heart and mind should develop gradually. Miracle, jugglery, black magic, machination, fraud, etc., producing effect through such means is entirely against spirituality and Brahma Vidya, divinity. And anyone after this can never be a deserving vessel for this superb science. Certainly, there remains so much beyond and above the reach and grasp of heart and mind, intellect, but proper comprehension and experience of that too is possible only through the heart and mind, which is oriented to soul and God. Just due to this, then there is special emphasis on cleaning and training of heart and mind in this science. The finest divine gift, which is patrimony of the entire progeny of mankind, stands reserved just for the human being, residing in the state of moderation in all respects. However, proper form of orientation and effort for that is difficult to be one's fortune. It is rightly stated, to be real man is hardly available to human beings. That is no point for dejection anyway, but divine help happens to fall to the lot of human being of right sort of courage alone. As such, adopt the purpose of life and path of its realization and move on and on until the purpose is fulfilled, holding on to the promise that whoever moves one step towards it, the goal advances 10 steps towards that one. The experience of all this is a matter of fact, but only for the one who may have faith in that divine assurance and keeping steadfast to it may continue marching on. Amen. Anyone wants to add their understanding? Ask. So Iris says, right, as we progress, right, it becomes difficult to describe because it's a becomes more and more subtle. And this is what at least I'm experiencing. And, yeah, it becomes difficult to describe the condition.
So this point about the whole simplicity of the method becomes the veil for the method itself, right? Because it is so simple, people don't, like, it is hard to explain and tell somebody who is like who is showing a little bit of interest on what he will or she will get when they come here
Mm-hmm.
is hard, because it is very simple and easy,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that has been like true challenge to tell people who inquire about it, right? And they don't get or like, at least I'm not able to communicate that value that clearly to them. Or maybe like, if you guys or if any one of you have been able to communicate on what we get beyond the first few things which people know, right, that they will get in meditation.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. No, so the Mukesh, the way I look at it, right, it is mainly our conviction and the belief. And when we are communicating about the system, that conviction and belief is coming out, because that's more of a feeling. Then the other person would be able to get that easily. That is what I have experienced. When earlier, when I tried to explain with more as an intellectual capacity, it becomes an argument, and that becomes difficult. And the other thing that is when we are talking it with the people who do not know anything about spirituality, it is easier to talk in terms of the immediate benefits, that is the peace and the regulation of mind, which is something the people will be able to relate to. And also it is something that we have experienced.
Yeah.
We have experienced it, we will be able to communicate with a firm conviction and belief. So that is what I'm doing. Yeah, others can share their experience.
I think, I mean, at least from my experience, I mean, over the years, I first get to know other people's uh, understanding about what they understand about meditation, what are their motives, what is that they want to achieve out of it. And then, and rather, I think by the time you already, it's much more easier to filter out a lot of things. And when it really comes to the actual point of meditation, I think I would only tell them to come and experience it. Right. So, but before that, I think many of them generally filters out because their motives, their objectives are totally different. I mean, what they want to achieve out of meditation. So.
Mukesh, just wanted to check, does that help or anything specific we want to go into the detail, then we can.
No, I think that is helpful.
Anything else on this article? I think this is the key thing, right? Whoever moves one step towards it, the goal advances 10 steps towards that. And the experience of all this is a matter of fact, but only for the one who may have faith in that divine assurance, keeping steadfast to it, may continue marching on. So I think this is the one thing that I am taking forward, right? That we have experienced it, that like I just started with some very small goal, but then it is the divine master who has supported and take us so much forward, and that's the matter of experience, and that is what keeps going on in terms of the practice.
So, brother, can you please elaborate on this one, the finest divine gift, which is patrimony, which is also today's message, right?
So the next sentence, right? It says, "To be real man is hardly even available to human being." Right? So when he's talking about the finest divine gift, what I understand is to be the real man. Right? And when we are talking about to be the real man, means to get to our original condition, and in the earlier one describes as the original condition of nothingness, where heart, mind, and soul are also not there, right? We don't even feel that, right? And so that is the condition that he's talking about, and that is something that is only for the human. Because when we look at animals, right? Animal has a fixed thought pattern. They cannot change that thought pattern. They can just change a little bit, right? So that is where, if you see, right, for the dogs, there are set rules to train the dog, and the different breeds of dog, how to train that. And similarly for the other animals, it's a punishment and reward, like a carrot and stick, more in the professional circle, you will see, right? So that's a carrot and stick is a animal way of training and rewarding, and which is it's said that it gets applied into the professional circle. But that does not work as far as the human beings are concerned. And as a human, we can make the choices, and with our choices, we can change ourselves.
Okay.
And that is the main gift that they have. Whether we use it or not is up to us.
So here, when Babuji is saying which is patrimony of the entire process of mankind, that means that gift is there available for the entire mankind. That's what.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Right.
Okay.
So every human being has that opportunity, right, to get liberated and go much, much beyond that. Master is available for everyone, right? Master is not restricted to ISRC or
True.
his system or this country or things like that.
And in the last there, he says residing in the state of moderation in all aspects. What is that, brother?
So I think somewhere else he mentioned, right? Moderation is doing it only to the extent that is required. So there is no afterthought or a before thought. So you can, where he has described the Sahaj Samadhi, right? The man is going on with his work without even being aware of it.
Oh, okay.
And it's an instrument of nature. So whatever work is allocated, nature's work is allocated, even the person is not aware about that. It just happens. Yeah. That is how I look at it, is the awareness. So first is the doer is gone, knower is gone, and then the enjoyer is also gone. And this is very nicely explained in the Rings of Egoism article of Pujya sir, where he says that the doer is, initially we feel our body as the doer, right? Our physical self as the doer. Then that is the crudest form of the ego. But as we progress further, we feel our mind as the doer or a soul as the doer. And then we even come out of that. And there are still subtle things that he explains, even when we are saying that we feel the body is the doer and things like that. And then he says that then the knower, although doership is gone, but the knowership is there. And then the knowership is gone, but the enjoyership is there. And that way he goes to explain the very, very subtle stages of egoism, from which also we need to come out of.
Okay. Thank you, brother.
I guess we have one of the very beginning article, one of the seminars that we conducted during COVID times. So there was something on moderation. So.
Yeah. I don't recollect the sentence, but yeah, there was one on moderation. So the Hindi word for moderation is samasam dasha. That is equanimity, sam asam. So that means not more, not less. So the simple way to look at it, like in the training program, is when we start, or when people come for the training program, we are doing a lot of things, lot more than required in terms of the materiality and other mundane things, and the things that we are doing a lot less in terms of our real goal of life and going towards that, right? As the moderation develops, the things that we are doing more will become less, and the things that we are doing less, but which is required, will keep on increasing. I'm sure that this is something you will be able to observe when you will observe how your life has changed, and your priorities have changed, your likings, dislikings, and the other things. Yeah.
Okay.
We stop here, and then we'll meet next week.